Greetings. We have an emergency situation here. As you know, Venezuela was attacked by the United States government yesterday. I had this whole lineup to talk about, comic books that deal with war. And here we are, 2026. Happy New Year. If you thought 2025 was bad, strap in. It's gonna get fucking worse. So Miguel and I, it's 9 p.m. after 9 right now over there. We're doing this emergency show because it's necessary. And I just want to start off with this before we get into any of the politics or anything like that, about what is actually going on, in Venezuela. I mean, let's look at the facts first. So let me share my screen. We're going to watch this while Miguel logs in. So take a look at this. You tell me, why are we attacking Venezuela? It's not drugs.
Countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua with Russia relationships. Of the world's lithium is in the lithium triangle: Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. We just have the largest oil reserves, light sweet crude, discovered off of Guyana over a year ago. You have Venezuela's resources as well, with oil, copper, gold. We have the Amazon, lungs of the world. We have 31% of the world's fresh water in this region too. I mean, it's just off the charts. We have a lot to do. This region matters. It has a lot to do with national security, and we need to step up our game. Of course, the country.
As you can see, that's the real reason. That's the only reason. It's the only reason. That we're there. You got to kind of like drown out the bullshit of people unhappy about this guy's leadership. It's a sovereign nation. And more importantly, what did he say as to why we attacked? It's almost like we're at this point where you can't really criticize the United States or its partners, right? Or its colonies, right? I ain't talking about Puerto Rico or Hawaii or Guam or the Philippines. I'm not gonna, right? I mean, we're in a serious state of war, people. And this is kind of why this platform was created in the first place, is to get you guys to educate yourself as to what's going on in the world. Comic books are great. I love to draw. I'm an artist first. But where is our country heading? That's where my head's at. And without further ado, Miguel Guerrera. Quiera.
How you doing?
The Warhounds have been released. What's up, dude?
Well, I guess we started 2026 with a bang, right?
Yeah.
And here we are. It's Iraq all over again. Except this time it's in the jungle.
Yes.
And the jungles are not the desert.
Yep.
Those jungles look hungry.
Mm-hmm.
When we go in, let me tell you something. You're asking where we're headed. Well, those of you who read my posts, and I only post to my friends because I don't post publicly anymore, because I have no time for foolishness. I already get foolishness from some family members sometimes, and friends. And I try to reserve my more, because I can be ruthless. I know I have my ruthless side in terms of slamming down.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be very honest here. And I'm always try to be as honest as possible. But it's not going to be something many of us Americans want to hear. I come from two countries, right? So I come from Spain and I come from the United States. My mother lived through the final dissolution of the Spanish Empire. So I see through what happened to Spain, my dad's country's future.
Right.
We can't be imperialistic and then expect a good result. Look at any of the empires in history.
Yep.
And for those of you, oh, it's going to be Armageddon. Well, look at what Jesus said. Kingdoms will rise and kingdoms will fall. These are not the signs to the end. In other words, us falling means nothing.
Right.
But this is very similar to the last stages of empire that Spain went through when it decided to attack its neighbor Morocco in the 1920s, following a similar trajectory. Except getting mixed up in the jungle is not going to be good for a lot of young American soldiers. You know, there's going to be a lot of body bags coming back if we set foot there.
Absolutely.
And it's a much bigger country than Iraq. The population is armed.
China already is arming. You know, China was in the Jamaica Ocean with their carrier.
And China's already cut us off from our rare earths.
Yeah.
We can't make stuff. We have a crisis of engineering. We have a crisis of processing stuff.
Right.
In China's perspective, they're just going to wait out the clock.
Yeah.
And let's grind down and wait for it. Iran is next. We're going to go for the full, 6 fights at once, like the drunk in the bar, right?
Yep,
We're
exactly.
going to get 6 fights. So what's coming is going to be, as I told you, material reality slamming hard into our face. That we're not exceptional. We're not unique. Every empire always thinks it's exceptional. Every single one. I'm going to be the one that the other jackass couldn't do.
Right.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Teenagers, man. Like stupid teenagers.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. I got this clip by Maduro. I don't know if you saw it. I think I said
Go for it.
Take a look at this. This is insane in the membrane. To say,
you know, there's an old saying that my dad used to say, my grandma and grandpa used to say, a hard head leads to a soft butt. You're gonna be hard-headed. That's okay. If we're gonna be hard-headed, we think we can go steal stuff. You better hope when the lashings and the lickings come back, don't cry. No one's gonna cry for us. No one will cry for us.
Exactly.
No one.
No one's gonna cry. They're gonna be like, F you.
They're gonna be cheering when we get it.
Yeah, I mean, showing Venezuelans cheering that he's out of office is meaningless, because if Trump was taken out by a coup, we'd be celebrating just the same. Well, that's not evidence of anything. That's just.
Well, I'll let you play the clip and then I'll explain something else too. But I'll let you play the clip.
Tenido Ramón una sola conversación. Él me llamó el viernes 21 de noviembre desde la Casa Blanca estaba. Y yo estaba en el Palacio de Miraflores. Conversamos 10 minutos. Y fue una conversación, como yo he dicho, respetuosa, muy respetuosa.
¿Qué le dijo
cordial.
el presidente? ¿Qué le dijo el presidente Trump?
Lo primero que me dijo, Mr. President Maduro.
Excelente.
Y yo le dije, Mr. President Donald Trump. Y creo que fue hasta agradable esa conversación. Pero de ahí las evoluciones post conversación no han sido agradables. Esperemos. Y al pueblo de Estados Unidos yo le digo lo que le he venido diciendo. Aquí en Venezuela tiene un pueblo hermano. Al pueblo de Estados Unidos inclusive le digo, aquí tienen a un gobierno amigo. Empezar a conversar en serio, con datos en la mano. Y el gobierno de Estados Unidos lo sabe, porque se le hemos dicho a muchos de sus voceros que si quieren conversar seriamente de un acuerdo de combate contra el narcotráfico, estamos listos. que si quieren petróleo de Venezuela, está lista Venezuela para inversión estadounidense como con Chevron, cuando quieran, donde quieran y como quieran. Nosotros hemos tenido, Ramón, una sola conversación. Él me llamó el viernes 21 de noviembre.
What do you think of that? Does that sound like an irrational person that's a dictator?
No. We have to look at how Patrice Lumumba was treated.
Mm-hmm.
He was not, he actually said he wasn't a communist.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we painted him as such, and we ended up killing him and then dissolving his body in a vat of acid. And all his wife got back was a tooth.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't anything new. This is who we are. You know,
Yes.
and here's the thing. I wouldn't cheer if someone took out Trump other than us,
Right.
the
Exactly.
people. And here's why. Anyone that would cheer for an outside force to come in to do what we just did is a traitor to their nation.
Absolutely.
You know, you either deal with your own sons of a bitches or you don't deal with them, but they're your own.
They're
your own
problem.
You know, it's your own problem.
Yeah.
You know, and this white savior syndrome, which
Mhm.
is ultra pervasive throughout Western culture,
Yeah.
in which we think we can go and push everybody to, whether it's Christianity, democracy, or whatever, it's all evangelizing bullshit for colonialism, has
Absolutely.
to stop. But it won't, and it'll end up with a bitter aftertaste. And I'll tell you this much.
Mhm.
Spain's still living in many ways. You know, the right wing still lives in the days of Queen Isabella.
Mhm.
That was fucking 500 years ago.
Right.
Do we want us Americans 500 years from now dreaming of what we were in World War II? Do you know how pathetic that is? But
Exactly.
that's where we're going down because we don't assess ourselves. And there's nothing that can be done, in my view, unless the people wake up. Either we wake up or we don't.
Right.
I was going to tell you a story in regards to that. I don't know if you know that Spain at one point had been occupied by France
Hmm.
under Napoleon. He
Oh,
put his
yes.
brother in charge, right?
Right.
And I mean, you know, France, for all it was, I guess, for Europe, was very progressive in terms of some of the stuff and laws that Napoleon brought in. He was still a dictator. And my mom was telling me, and my aunt also corroborated the story, in which my aunt said to my grandmother, my yaya, as we call them in Valencia,
Mhm.
said, "Oh, you know, the French. Why did we kick the French out? You know, we could have become much more progressive under them, something to that effect." And she said, she looked at her very sternly and said, "Because they are French and we are Spanish. That's why we kicked them out." And anyone who asks anyone else to come in to do their dirty work, we should be very careful with those type of people, because that means if we're weak, guess what they're going to do? They'll buck up to whoever else, the Russians, the Chinese, to screw us over.
Right.
Traitors are traitors. I'm sorry. And that's a treasonous act.
And that's why the that lady that they were propping up to take over, he just screwed her, right?
You just screwed her.
It's
Just
like
screwed her.
you can't
You know,
trust a backstabber, you know?
No, you can't. It's interesting because, sorry to get historical on you. This,
That's fine. This
another
is
story I
what
grew up with.
all about. That's
You
what
know,
this is about,
I
right?
grew up with hearing from my mom. She used to tell me about there was a part, and I later found out it was Lusitania. It was Portugal. The Romans were trying to get to. They're trying to get this leader, and they couldn't get him. And she told me it was one guy, but it turned out to be three guys that sell this guy out for a bunch of gold. And the story she told me, her version was that the Romans killed him, never paid him the gold, and they said, "This is how Rome pays traitors."
Mhm.
The Romans thought it was disgusting that someone would betray their own people.
Yeah.
You know, for all those alpha males out there who are like, "Oh, Rome," this,
Exactly.
they don't know jack shit about Rome.
Right. You know.
You know, so sorry, I had to get it out of me.
No, it's true. I mean, we have a lot of chicken hawks in society. So this is what I think. This is just a theory.
Go for it.
This video. Here's another clip
Okay,
of
let's go to the clip.
Maduro's speech on how he felt towards
President Nick.
how he felt towards our partners, right? So it's, let me see. I was trying to fast forward this a little bit, but I'll just play the whole thing and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Our partners.
Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela was captured this morning along with his wife, and he's now on the way to the U.S. to await trial. And if you listen to this clip, you'll understand exactly why we just absolutely had to remove him, allegedly.
Ahora los racistas y supremacistas del sionismo hoy quieren acabar con el pueblo palestino. Y digo más, quieren acabar con todo el pueblo árabe, con todo el pueblo musulmán. Han sembrado una ideología del odio, de la racia. La han sembrado durante 75 años con el apoyo de Occidente. Atención, mundo bueno que me escucha. Atención, hombres y mujeres de los Estados Unidos, de Europa y del mundo. Han sembrado una ideología más peligrosa que la nazi. Primero contra el pueblo palestino. Racia, exterminio, genocidio, bombas atómicas. Y luego vienen los pueblos árabes, todos los pueblos musulmanes. Y después quieran venir por nosotros, los cristianos, los católicos. Paremos al tiempo el genocidio. Paremos a tiempo el genocidio sionista contra el amado y pueblo palestino.
He just had three.
President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela was captured this morning along with his
He's had three no-nos there.
Yeah.
Three no-nos were, you know, telling the truth.
Well, you know,
History of that truth, you know, and saying exactly what we were talking about Muammar Gaddafi, and he did the same thing, you know. Muammar Gaddafi did the same thing. He gave a similar speech pertaining.
But do you know that Zelensky now is talking about doing that to Putin, and he backed the ousting of Maduro?
Really?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I don't think he understands. Ukraine, is in Venezuela's position, not in the U.S.'s position.
Right, exactly.
And what has happened, and this you know happens, you know, sometimes little punks think that they're, you know, smarter than they are. He doesn't understand by accepting and going along with this horse shit, now allows Putin to do exactly to him what happened to Maduro. And when it happens, it's like, well, you know what? Law of the jungle, boys.
Right.
You know, don't cry. It's either law of the jungle, it's international law, but we can't have both. You know, can't be pick and choose.
And you know, we're living in a time where you cannot speak your freedom. All right, they want to eliminate our free speech. They want to eliminate and I don't say that like in a Republican way, but but they are literally our freedom of speech is under attack.
Well, it always has been.
Yeah, and it's just like
Dr. King is dead because of his lack of freedom of speech.
Yep.
Malcolm X is dead because of his freedom of speech.
Yep.
And before America was even a thing, Europe had the Inquisition. God knows you couldn't say anything bad about the church because you'll have your fingernails pulled off and put in an Iron Maiden and God knows what. This has been a struggle. So yeah, it's not just now, it's always been that way. And that's why I think a lot of us would rather not be the nail that gets hit, that stands out and gets hit. We just sort of quiet down and go, hey man, let me just talk about Stranger Things and you know, normal things. I don't want to hear about normal things. Stranger Things are cooler, man.
Right. Stranger Things is cooler than what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
And the reality is all you got to do is look at Vietnam, look at Cuba, the Bay of Pigs. You know, it's not about having the best weapons or the best drones. We went up against rice farmers.
And got our asses kicked. We got our asses kicked.
Because what push comes to shove, people are going to fight for their fucking land. They're going to fight for their freedom and give us freedom or give us death. Right? That is the mentality, right? Even here in the United States, people will die for their freedom.
I don't know.
You know, but
I don't know about that, man.
they won't die for someone else's freedom. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
you
I'm
get
almost
they go to
saying,
war there. There's more. Let's face it. The reason why we lost Vietnam was number two. We never invaded the North, and we never had a real investment there. There was no human connection to being there, and that's why people,
even if we did,
you know,
the French got kicked out. The Chinese got kicked out after centuries.
right? And you have the Japanese trying to,
They tried. Like, I mean, and Chinese had more investment than we did, and they
yeah,
still got their asses kicked.
yeah,
They fought them for centuries.
yeah.
We can't last 1 week without thinking, holy shit, this is too much. We
Right.
create machines that basically all instant gratification because we don't want to learn new skills.
Yeah.
AI machines is a perfect example of that. Hey, man, it's too hard for me to actually sit down and learn drawing, or it's too much for me to pay someone to do the drawing because I don't want to pay someone to do it. So along comes this thing where we get to steal someone else's art and put it up. So we're all about instant gratification,
Absolutely.
and we're not about time's gonna whoop us. My mom used to say time is cruel.
Mm-hmm.
Time will grind your ass down. And
Right.
it's gonna grind our ass down hard.
Yeah. I mean, we've never really won a war if you think about it.
No, no.
And we talked
Even in the
about
Pacific,
right?
well, even in the Pacific, when we talk about the Pacific,
Right.
you know who had the Japanese mostly tied up?
Yeah.
It was China.
Yeah.
China lost 20 million freaking people to the Japanese.
Mhm.
There's a reason why they're canceling. I know a lot of people are probably like, whoa, China's canceling anime and manga stuff in Beijing shows and Comic-Cons there.
Mhm.
That's because Japan's being a militaristic dickhead. And
Mhm.
Japan's like, well, fuck you. We don't need you.
Right.
Right. And to be honest with you, that's probably the only export that Japan has at this point is anime and manga, because it basically committed seppuku back in the 90s for our economy.
All right.
It's fucking wild, man.
I know, man. It's really freaking scary. And then, they don't even hide it anymore. Like that first clip that I played of the general talking on television, why we have to, they're talking, it's not just Venezuela. They're Bolivia, Chile. What else do they say? Not Argentina. They didn't say Argentina. Argentina will probably be fighting with them, right? To invade. That'll be our Israel on that side of, like how Israel is with the Arab nations.
Argentina only gave us one decent guy.
Yeah.
For whatever anyone wants to say, El Che.
Okay, yeah.
That's it. The others are questionable.
Yeah.
You
And the thing is, these are not secrets or surprises. These guys broadcast this through books. These politicians write about this extensively, and it's just about people not reading their message for global domination. This insanity that
And we've done it. I mean, how many coups have we had and I hate to use the word Latin America because Brazil's Lusitanian. It's not Latin, Spanish speaking, whatever the fuck that means. Right. But we've always mistreated Latin since the moment we pushed out the Spanish who were being dickheads there. We moved in and filled the gap of being the dickheads.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
all this energy wasted trying to manage other people's business, and our business is falling apart.
Right. Our infrastructure is literally rotting in this country. I mean, I look outside just where I live. We still have wooden poles with the electrical wires going above head. We had that in the 80s in New York City.
Dude,
all the wiring is
books.
ground now,
You could see comic books, Will Eisner comic books from the 30s with the poles and the electrical wire.
Yeah. It's like
that shit's old.
It's old. It's like, why are we still using these outdated, antiquated, technologies?
Because there are two forces that are problematic for empires: greed and dominance. Greed wants to be a cheap bastard and keep everything for itself. Right. Dominance requires you to spend a shitload of money to dominate shit, and these two things pull against each other. Eventually, greed wins, and the whole thing falls.
Yeah.
You know, so and I can tell you that, you know, I've had many Latinos who find out I was half Spanish and say, "What do you think about Isabella and what they did?" I think you guys got a raw deal, but you also have to understand what happened too.
Right.
What happened was 1492 wasn't just Columbus going out. It was the end of an 800-year war between the Christians who came down from the north, fighting the Moors and the Jews, and some Christians. And Isabella was facing, holy shit, I got these families, warrior families, that've been fighting for 800 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy goes, "Hey, I just found this new spot." And she says, "Guess what, guys? You're headed over there." And she dumped all those assholes, Pizarro, Cortez, all the nastiest crew. But while they were stealing all the gold from there, the gold would come into Spain, go to Italy, Genoa, to the banks, and you had two jobs in Imperial Spain: soldier or farmer. Spain was dirt shit poor at the height that it had all the gold and silver in the world. It invested nothing in its industry.
Exactly.
That's why empire fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they won't build the Death Star. What they will do is pretend that they're going to build the Death Star, keep the fucking money, have some poor assholes out there in TIE fighters, and if they run out of oxygen, fuck them. That's what the reality would be.
I have a perfect example of that.
All right, go ahead.
Recycling, right?
Oh.
I used to work for Mary Perg for like 2 days, literally 2 days. But because I was a Greenpeace type of group that was trying to push recycling in Maryland in the 90s, like the early 90s.
You did Greenpeace too?
Yeah. So
Me too.
I was just not, I was very good at doing the door-to-door stuff, but I wasn't really good at getting, you know, people to buy into this stuff. So New York City was unique that our state got recycling for free. You got the garbage cans for free. You got all this stuff, no problem. But in Maryland, when I lived out in Maryland for that short, you know, one and a half year, whatever, when I lived out there, Marylanders and Baltimoreans had to pay for recycling. They had to pay for their can. They had to pay for the service of recycling. So most people were like, "No, I'm not doing this." So day one, I went out canvassing. Day two, went out canvassing, and then I had a conversation. The guy was trying to kind of gaslight people or something, or about what they're doing wrong. And I already done door to door for years as a Jehovah's Witness. I know how to talk to people. I don't remember what I said exactly, but I know I was basically pointing out the flaws of his operation.
Right.
And saying, well, this is what you need to do, X, Y, Z, to reach the people, to get them to get into this concept of paying for recycling. How do you make this attractive, right? Because at that point, recycling was only 10% in the United States, right? I got fired. Mind you, it's not even a paycheck. It was basically like a commission. So it's like,
yeah, I did the
Greenpeace smart guy in this room trying to run shit. You know, you can't tell the hippies how to run their organization. You know, I'm too right wing leaning, even though I'm not right wing, but in their minds, you know, you're the narc. You're the guy who's too conservative, even though I'm left wing. You know, they're like.
Do you know where there's a moment when I realized that the whole green movement was horseshit?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm always for the environment. Don't get me wrong. It's when I saw the report that our military pollutes more than 110 countries.
Yeah.
That we measure gas in gallons per second.
Right.
And never once did I hear Greenpeace or any of them protesting any of that.
Right.
And I realized, you know, that's part of the problem.
Yeah. And
we want to fix something, but we don't want to fix all of it.
Right. And look at this. So in New York today, right? Well, in America, period. You know how much we recycle in 2026?
10%.
10%. The percentage never went up. It never
10%.
increased.
Yeah.
We were recycling more. I think it was 40% or higher during World War II. I'll have to Google that, but you know.
Yeah.
We recycled. You know, we know that because we had milk being delivered by the milk guy. They had soda with the recyclable glass bottles. You know, before the 5-cent refund, you know, it came into existence. You know, there was a truck that delivered soda to your house. There's a truck that delivered milk.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember those.
You know,
And
and
they
you had
go, they power wash it, and then they just refill it again.
refill it. And I remember having 2 milk stations in my neighborhood. We had Imperial Milk on 219th Street, and then we had the other one on 241st Street. Hostess Cakes had a bakery fucking on 218th Street. Hostess Cakes had like an actual factory where Americans were making the cakes in the Bronx.
Well, you know, they hated that the middle class grew. They hated that the middle class got educated. And then in their genius, their Wile E. Coyote genius, they offshored everything to Asia. And now in their Wile E. Coyote genius, are sitting there scratching their heads. You mean they were smart enough to not be robots and actually invest in themselves?
Yeah.
You know, because after all, they're the great white gods, right? They're gonna do everything for everyone, and everyone's gonna bow down to them like they're freaking, like, I don't know, Superman, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they're sitting there going, "Oh, you mean hard work pays off?"
Yeah.
And now they're looking like, if we were to get another scuffle like World War II, we're fucked. When we got in that scuffle the last time or went into it, we had Ford factories. We had all sorts of things that we could just go, okay, you're not making cars anymore. We're making planes and tanks and everything else. There's a major crisis of being able to build ships because of lack of industry. So we're acting like imperialistic punks, but it's kind of like we're Jake Paul or Andrew Tate. And the result won't be pretty. It might not be what we expect. Maybe we might get a little bit of a nuclear war. Maybe we'll get a whole nuclear war. Or maybe we might find out that our nukes are duds.
Right.
And then get our asses whooped that way. But whatever it is, sometimes an ass kicking will wake you up. And we never had an ass kicking at home. Every other country on this planet has an ass kicking at home. Every single one. Spain got its ass kicked at home. Portugal got its ass kicked at home. France, Germany, Russia, China, Vietnam, Japan, everyone's gotten it. But we've left unscathed.
Right.
Those are not good numbers, because eventually when it does come home, it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to have your Nintendo or your Netflix or the other shit that we're used to. That's why when people talk about Civil War, it's like, whoa, back up. You don't want that shit. Revolution? Do you sure you want to sit there watching your kids and everyone else die as you're fighting for something? I don't know if we're made of that kind of stuff.
Exactly. You know, it's funny. AI is funny because I'm looking at just double check what I was saying. They're saying that it's 32% today, right? But then they go and say that, you know, that there was no data to prove what was recycling in World War II. That's not true, because we recycled rubber, aluminum.
We had
steel.
to.
And I remember even as a kid, and I wasn't born anywhere near World War II. It's like about 1980s. I was, you know, elementary school. My dad, my brother, myself, we would go around looking for aluminum and recycle it. Because the aluminum recycling plants still exist today. Like you could, you know, now you see homeless people and junkies that got hip to it doing that. But that was everyday Americans, working class people were collecting leftover metal and going to recycle it, because you got it. I think it was like 10 cents based on the weight of it. So depending on how many pounds it was, you got like, you know, I would need like $1 something based on how many pieces of metal that you would find and bring, you know?
No, I don't know what they're saying about that.
So as a kid, you walk home with $2-3 from a bunch of scrap metal you found on the street.
I don't know why they would say that, because there was a point where we hit a crisis in World War II, in which we got cut off by Japan from our rubber plantations.
Rubber, women stopped wearing hoses, started painting.
We had to create synthetic rubber, which is how we got plastic introduced into our entire society. It was through when we started to create synthetic rubber, eventually just became plastic.
Right.
That's why we're fighting with that crap right now.
Yeah.
So what they're Yeah, I sometimes think that a lot of this stuff is to gaslight us. Oh, they didn't do this in the past. They didn't do that in the past, and
It
and
used to be
it's a
the
lot of
company
horse shit.
that recycle, and then they put it onto us because the companies were responsible for the recycling. Then they're like, "Oh, it's you. Put it in your blue can. Put it in your green can." It was all the advertising slogans overall. I don't know if it was Vice that talked about this. It was some company that did a documentary on this that I saw. Basically, they wanted Americans to feel good about saving the planet without actually saving the planet. To create
That
the
sounds about white.
right the illusion of change without actually
Mhm.
changing.
We love the illusion of change,
Mhm.
but because it requires nothing, right? We love the illusion of change.
Right.
But eventually reality comes home and slaps you. Eventually catches up with you.
Right,
You can keep
exactly.
skipping away, going away. Oh, la 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 la. No, it'll catch up.
Yeah,
I
for
think
real,
I
man.
think that's what's going to start happening this year. It's going to be the some sobering events are coming. And it's going to be really hard. And really, it doesn't matter if it was Trump or
Scary.
not.
No, it doesn't matter.
No.
Honestly, we're at the precipice where and I'll get mad at me, hate me if you want to say, but it is a uni party. I've been saying it forever.
Well, it's
This is
the
a
empire.
war against the people of the United States and the people we elected.
Hmm.
The
Well,
elite class versus the working class.
they have you ever heard of the mudsill? It's called the mudsill theory.
No.
It's something they teach the rich, basically that there should always be, and there will always be an underclass.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically treat us like subhumans, and they believe that they're the only humans.
Well,
We're
yeah.
not.
And you want to know something? I remember in economics class last year, the kids came from that class, came to my class, and I'm the art guy, right? So what the fuck do I
Mhm.
know? But they were talking this nonsense about, oh, we have to have poor people and homeless people in this country because not everyone can be rich. And they're trying to sell this theory to kids. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Economics.
We're the richest country in the world. There is no reason for homelessness. Oh, no, sir, we can't do that because everyone can't be special.
Economics, and I will say this as a person who's drawn economics comics with people like Steve Keen,
Mhm.
who, if you ever want to read the book Debunking Economics, I've done book covers for people like Michael Hudson. Read his books. They will open up your eyes as to religion, how religion and finance are tied.
Oh, yeah, big time.
But economics as it stands is horseshit. It's the equivalent of flat earth theory shit. Because they'll tell you they don't deal with money. So they
Right,
don't teach basic accounting. They
right,
deal with when they deal with the product, it's only one product.
right,
In our world that we live in, it's complex, and they don't deal with debt.
right,
Money is debt,
right.
first of all, and they don't deal with so many real world things. And the stuff that I've drawn for Steve Keen, drew a comic called Funny Money for him, which dealt with trying to teach people about how money is created, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
They still pawn off this myth that anthropologists get frustrated, which is the barter myth. They believe that money came from the idea that, oh, let me borrow give me your cow for this and that. It's like, well, what if you only did a small thing? You're going to give them the whole cow, or you're going to chop off a piece of the cow, right?
Right.
But really, money comes from credit.
Right.
And credit comes from the Latin word credo, which means belief. Our
Mhm,
whole financial system is dealt on belief.
mhm.
So a lot of the wealthy people spend money on these neoliberal. For those of you who think neoliberal means anything to do with the Democrats, it doesn't. It encompasses both. It's basically privatizing everything.
Right.
But these neoliberal economics ideas have flushed through our entire system. And this is why we're doubly fucked, because we see them as experts and they're not. So I'll leave it there. You touched the sensitive nerve for me when it comes to economics, because I have my issues with them.
Yeah, I mean, this whole trickle down thing is a joke as well.
Always
It's
has been.
You know,
And
it's been something they've been selling people. And then there's this whole thing about Ben Shapiro talking about Americans should be willing to work past the age of 65 and should not want to retire. I don't know if you heard that.
yeah,
Chuckle.
I did. I saw that coming from a rich boy.
Right, coming from a rich kid, right? It's like, give me a
Mhm.
break. It's like, talk about that's the classism youth mind think, right?
Mhm.
If you never had to work a day in your life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think they think about us?
Yeah.
We're,
They think nothing of
we're the
us.
suckers, right? Like,
Yeah.
just I think we said this, I think we touched on this last week. I was saying, cut off all the rich subsidies, cut off all the tax paybacks from the movie industry, stop giving them. Oh, they lost money on a movie? Fuck you. That's a risk. It's like,
Deal
why are
with
you
it.
giving you tax dollars because your movie didn't make any money? Who cares if your movie didn't make any money? If it costs you millions of dollars to make, which is, a padded expense anyway, um, you know,
When they're
it's
not paying their CGI artists, by the way.
right. They're not exactly, and they go to the lowest bidder, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, and the same thing with all these companies, when Wall Street, gets bailed out. Why are we bailing out these guys? At the end of the day, they still have multiple jets, private planes. They got multiple yachts. Let them sell it. Let them sell those. And I don't know if we ever talked about yachts, that there was like a flurry of yachts burning in the ocean in different countries because they're money pits. They're the most expensive thing to own, to maintain.
No, I
And
didn't hear about that, but I heard about the orcas, and I'm team
yeah,
orca.
and so they after a few years, right, I think it was right around 2020, 2021, these guys started burning their yachts in different parts of the world. These like these things are so fucking huge. You can fit like 100 people in there comfortably. Like these apartments on water, basically, apartment buildings on water, because they would get more money for the insurance than the actual value and cost of maintenance for the damn boat.
And on top of it, they get to pollute the ocean.
I get the so you got multiple Titanics underwater now. Try
You know
towing
what?
that shit. Where are they gonna put
Well,
that?
maybe they have to go visit it like those billionaires did in that faulty sub. They can
Right,
go visit it and
right.
maybe, implode. And good night,
Good night.
man.
They're
It's
gonna
like,
they're gonna need those fucking boats when the working class are chasing them to the ocean.
well, what sort of economic system is it that you have to build bunkers because you think everything's going to go sideways? I thought
Right,
it's the best economic system on the planet. You shouldn't have to build bunkers. You should
right,
be able to walk down the street with your Rolex and everything's good, right?
right. I mean,
Please. There's a quote I saw. Some people have attributed to Mark Twain. I don't know if it's his, but it said something to the effect of like, when the rich screw over financially, when the rich strike out at the poor, it's called business. When
mhm.
the poor strike out at the rich, it's called violence
Right, exactly. Or terrorism, right?
or terrorism, right?
It's like,
You know,
I'm anti-gun, I'm anti-war. I will say that forever. But when you start looking at who's arming up in this country, every time there's a school shooting, bullets are on back order, guns are on back order. All these semi-automatic weapons are being sold out every time there's a mass killing. And then you see it's these white right-wing groups, like these militias and stuff. It's like, but then they're preaching to us, the liberals, we should be against guns, Second Amendment rights, we don't need those. And then they choke us with religion. It's like we're being duped to being basically disarming ourselves, from protecting ourselves, from protecting
but
our property. And then the people on the opposite side of the aisle are arming up to basically, they're not going to defend the country. They're going to just take your shit.
two things.
It's like,
Two things. I saw this one dude right online once that had me fucking rolling on the floor. He says they give you Americans guns because they
right,
know you won't go after the right people.
Right,
They
exactly.
don't give the French guns because they know they will.
Right. That a European saying?
No, it was some British dude. He had me freaking laughing, man. I was on the floor. I was like, that shit's hilarious. And therein lies the problem.
Mhm,
For those, the fantasists amongst us who
mhm,
think they're going to fight back against the government,
mhm,
please look at an F-16.
mhm.
They will blow out our cities.
Right.
You will never even so much be able to shoot one of those planes, and your ass will be literally just a shadow on a wall.
Right. I mean,
This
Pompeo.
is not 1776.
Right.
This isn't muskets. It isn't arrows.
This
We're
is
talking high-powered weapons.
exactly.
And if you think that our military will go, oh no, I won't shoot civilians, take a good look at ICE. Take a good look at the National Guard who went in.
Right.
They will follow orders like the good little soldiers they are.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Not going to happen.
Not to mention that there was a database. Someone hacked the database. I don't know if I sent you that video. This guy was talking about, and 2,000 of they hacked 2,000 ICE members. It was like an email or something of one of the members, and 121 were former IDF soldiers. So, and then think about how many veterans in the United States Army are these guys, ICE, right? Because we don't really prepare our own military guys for careers. Yeah, you can go to college, we'll pay for your college, but a lot of these guys join the military, and not to disrespect my own military family. I come from a very deep military family, but let's face it, we have a shitty education system. I say that as an educator. Teachers work very hard, but the system works against us. They don't want us to give true evaluations. They want, the social promotion is real. It's never gone away. And we're educating and graduating a bunch of dummies that have no prospects. Even the ones that go to college, a lot of them, there's a large percentage of people that drop out of college. They don't even last a semester. Sometimes they don't even last a month, because the college level is very different from the high school level. And no one's kissing their ass in high school. And then they're like, well, I can't either it's an affordability thing, or those who can afford it squander it because they don't value it. Then they're like, well, let me go to the military because I have no prospects, because I have no job experience. You're 18 years old, you got no job experience, you never worked a day in your life. It's like, so what are their choices? They have to go to the military, and then when they're done with the military, they still have no prospects because all they learned to do was shoot and kill and take orders. So if you ever take a career in the military, then you're set, right? You're like, I'm going to continue with this. But a lot of people don't. They hate it. They don't like the experience. They regret it. They end up with a bunch of shin splints and disability. And then they're unemployable still because they still don't have any job experience other than being a soldier.
Hey, well, there's always security.
Right.
There's always being a merc.
Right. So security, police, FDNY. I mean, those are the jobs. I mean, the educated ones that did apply themselves will become educators, right? But
this is why the system is set up that way.
Right.
It's to ensure that we don't have conscription and we don't have a draft. So the system is set up in such a way that it will always provide a certain amount of bodies in the military.
Right. You just look at Vietnam, right? Post-Vietnam, people came back with just the way I just described. The South Bronx. A lot of the gangs in the South Bronx in the 1960s were run by former military guys coming back from Nam. No job prospects. You're living in the South Bronx. Everything's burning because they want to push the Hispanics out of the South Bronx and reallocate the territory, gentrify it, put a fucking highway 95 through it.
The Hells Angels were all veterans.
Yeah.
All veterans.
Yeah, you had a lot of gangs, and then what were they doing? They were basically doing military operations. These gangs are wiping each other out. This is what I have to say. With all the gangs in Chicago, with all the gangs in California, with all the gangs in New York, these guys are armed to the teeth with mostly illegal weapons, right? Why isn't ICE going after those guys? They're not.
I think you answered your own question. You're going to be capping some of them.
Right.
And they got experience. There's a big difference between Joe Bag of Donuts
Right.
just decided to try to make it through the, obstacle course like that idiot who played Superman tried.
Right.
And dude that's been out there having bullets flying at him has experience capping people.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, no, no. The sharks, no, we're gonna stay away from the sharks. We're gonna go for the goldfish.
Right.
That's why.
Easy
That's why.
targets, soft targets. That's what they're going
Yeah.
after.
Cowards.
Yes.
Now here's my thing. How long before we start having gang members who maybe have had their family taken and they start dressing up like ICE and shooting them back?
Right.
Shit could get hardcore. The thing that people who run countries have this godlike vision of shit. Like they control everything like on a computer. This is why the computer is like probably the perfect symbol for Western civilization. The
Right.
idea that you can control over everything. Um, and then sometimes you find out you don't control shit. And shit ends up being like a wildfire on your ass. And you're like, well, wait a second. Well, we're going to try to do this and try to do that. And it starts to spiral exponentially. Has happened before in the past. I'll
Yeah.
give you a little story. So you know the guillotine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Guillotine killed Louis the 16th, right?
Mm-hmm.
This idiot, while he was king, gave advice to the engineer that was designing the guillotine on how to make it more effective.
Mm-hmm.
How ironic is that? That the advice that he gave to this engineer would be the very thing that would take his head off his shoulders. So this idea that these people, and the thing is, they convinced us that they have everything under control. They're the ones at the driver's seat. They got the wheel. They got the Illuminati. They got this. And then you see all these quagmires we're getting in, and you're like, well, how could this happen? Of course, it shocks us
Right.
because we keep thinking they're under control. They don't know shit.
Right.
They're just surfing the chaos and pretending that they're the ones who caused the wave, which in most cases they did. But then it triggers off all sorts of shit that we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the problem. It's the as Rumfeld said, there's known knowns and unknown unknowns, which I always fucking laugh. I'm like,
I was actually thinking about that movie, and I was like, we need to like watch that again and discuss that, because
sure,
yeah,
W, right?
that was, and it's just like that whole fog of war, that whole documentary is just
That's a great documentary.
the stupidity of these people in control and the garbage that they spew to try to clickbait us into listening to them, and it works for the majority of people.
We fight over like differences of melanin count and hair texture. Do you know how stupid we are?
Yeah.
And they sit back and fucking laugh. They laugh at us. And for all this whiteness, there's one thing that should sober up a lot of our white brothers and sisters out there real fast.
Mm-hmm.
The rich will always use one word: pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Pedigree means, yeah, I might be white, but I ain't your kind of white. You're like the trash sort of white. And until they start sobering up to that reality, that race and class in these people's minds is indistinguishable, because they think of things not just in money terms and what's in your bank account, but actually biologically. That's that whole eugenics shit. We're never going to mend this sort of understanding of why race is still important as much as class.
Right.
That's the problem. Because
Right.
we keep thinking, well, it doesn't matter for me.
Mhm.
All right. But when you have Elon Musk and Peter Thiel talking about IQ and eugenics shit, it should be a little light bulb to go, uh-oh, yeah, these guys actually think they're Steve Rogers or something, right?
Right. Why when these guys talk about that, why aren't we defunding them from from our billions? I know Elon Musk gets $10 billion in our tax dollars so he could crash a bunch of rockets.
Dude, he almost took out 3 airliners.
It's ridiculous.
And he's a genius.
Genius.
Everyone, oh, he's Tony Stark. Oh, I hear so many excuses for this white savior boy.
He's not even good.
He just lost Tesla. I just had a a cousin of mine arguing with me
Right.
as to why he didn't do a Nazi salute. He pumped that twice.
Yeah, he was like this.
He
Yeah.
comes from South Africa,
Right.
apartheid South
His
Africa.
family had an apartheid business and benefited from it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like,
But
why
I
can't
mean, what do you think this means for Puerto Rico, though? I mean, like, because that's like our neighboring Guyana. They're talking about Guyana having resources, and
Well, Puerto Rico,
they have troops in Puerto Rico right now. It's just
what does it
stationed.
mean for Puerto Rico?
You know.
I see several different conflicts happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously going to be Venezuela. If we
Mm-hmm.
put boots on the ground, and Trump just said we're going to be the ones in charge of Venezuela to the next government.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a civil war quagmire right there.
Right.
So if anything, Puerto Rico might be used as a launching pad to go into
Yep. Like a
Venezuela.
me-
Then they're going to want to go after Cuba. They said they want to go after
right.
Mexico too as well. They're talking about Sheinbaum. He wants to get rid of her.
Right.
We're going to bleed ourselves by 1,000 cuts. This is what's going to be. I mean, I think it's going to be quiet for Puerto Rico because unfortunately it's going to be the neighbors.
They have soldiers already stationed there. They've kind of like occupied it. It's almost become like an Okinawa, situation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're going to.
there.
So it'll be quiet for Puerto Rico.
No.
Colombia said it stands by Venezuela.
Mhm.
Colombia, has been fighting forever the FARC rebels in
Mhm.
the jungles, man.
But
Not
that's
gonna happen.
there's also like a socialist as well that they're going to go after him.
Mhm.
They're not happy with that guy either.
And let me tell you something. I remember back in the day, my late brother, who had gotten into the Rangers, but he actually backed out. But the stories I would hear of guys going into the jungles, American soldiers going into the jungles to burn up a lot of the cocaine
Right.
places, and how soldiers would lose eyes because the drug dealers and the people they were fighting would have hang fish hooks just at eye level. So of course, if you're going through the jungle, you're not paying attention, you walk right into that fish hook. So this is not going to be an easy thing, and it's going to be. And you talk to some hardened brothers,
Right.
Well, I think it's our Jake Paul moment, man. It's going to be our Jake Paul moment, and not going to be pretty. And there's a whole generation that's going to wake up going, "What the hell was that?
What's going on here?"
And I mean, well, hey,
Yeah.
but I don't think there's anything we can do. I think we can talk about it, but I think things are emotion.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to be done to stop this shit.
And we already have corrupt politicians in Puerto Rico that are like, kind of going along with this whole Trump administration stuff. And I just feel like, what the heck, man? What's going on here? First, they take away our chances for statehood that Biden was trying to put in place. That may or may not be a good thing. Then he wants New Zealand, right? Or no, was it New Zealand or no? Greenland.
Yeah.
And then he's talking about Canada. It's like, come on now. It's just like
he's gonna grind it down, man. He's gonna.
Now we see that he's serious. We're talking about trying to stop. Was it Putin from expanding his territory? It's like, wait a minute. Well, we're doing that with our partners. We're basically accusing Putin of what we're actually doing.
It's projection.
Yeah.
Tell me how many military bases Russia and China have.
Right.
Outside of their country.
Right.
And even collectively, they don't even come close. We have like 800 or 900 bases, man.
Right.
And we're talking about, well, they're the empire. Excuse me?
Right. How many wars has China and Russia combined had after World War II? It's far less than the United States.
Jesus. And we have the nerve to turn around and say,
right.
I know they're not saints, right? But this is like cutting up the women who cheat on their husbands while being a prostitute in a brothel.
Right.
We're the prostitute in the brothel.
Right. We're just
we're going, you cheated on your husband.
It's global hegemony. That's all it is. That's all it
You
comes
know,
down to, you know?
yeah, it is. We're an empire. It's
Yeah.
just, and we use nice, cute words like superpower
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say, "Oh, look how pretty we are. We're a superpower," because it's very infantile for us to think of ourselves as Superman or Batman or any of that stuff. It's like, no, motherfuckers, we're Darth Vader.
Yeah. There was a book that I'd like to recommend. It was called Crossing
Go
the
for it.
Rubicon: The Decline of the American Empire at the End of the Age of Oil. Right, that was Michael Rupert. He was a ex CAA guy. This book came out in, I mean, sorry, he was ex LAPD, but he used to work with our intelligence agencies. He was a guy that was on C-SPAN back in the '90s, saying that said, "Hey, the CIA is bringing drugs into the country and giving it to working with the gangs directly." And then she got shot for that after he made that announcement live on C-SPAN. But he talks about peak oil, the connected systems of geopolitics, drugs, intelligence, the industrial civilization,
You know,
I would recommend that book to like people to figure out like, hey, what's going on?
yeah,
You know,
there's a serious decline.
Mm.
I know we're eating our shirts right now, looking at how China has developed itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of jealousy there.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's got to sting that it was a non-white people who did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to
That's
hurt
what
that
it comes down to. That's
ego. Oh man, they're just, if it was Germany, they would be drooling all over it.
oh yeah. They're like, oh
Look
look
at
how
those
great we are.
Aryans,
I mean, this is the book. I don't know.
crossing the Rubicon. That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to follow this guy right after the events of 9/11, and this book actually discusses that extensively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's an interesting guy. It's really, you know, really, it's an interesting guy. It's just really,
Our biggest problem is we've deindustrialized.
yeah.
And I know a lot of people say we can't get it back.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean we're going to get the old industry stuff of the stuff that we did, but there's a lot of things we got to fix.
Hmm.
I mean, imagine living in a house where you don't fix the doors,
Right.
you don't fix the roof,
Hmm.
the floorboards are falling apart.
Hmm.
That's how we're treating our country.
Yeah.
We're just letting shit run down. And one of the reasons we have the interstate was because Eisenhower saw what Hitler did with the Autobahn in Germany and
Hmm.
thought, shit, if we need to transport heavy equipment from one end of the country to the other end of the country, we need to have like a type of Autobahn to get it from one side to the other.
Right.
We're letting that decay.
Hmm.
Our, our electric grid's like nearly a century old. It's falling apart. Like we're not even trying. It's
Right.
like watching a boxer who used to look like Bruce Lee turn into
Homer Simpson.
Homer Simpson and still thinking he can fight like Bruce Lee. And you're like,
Right.
what? All because somehow we think we're blessed or genetically superior to everyone on the planet.
Right.
Like that's some white supremacist shit,
Yeah.
And I know that that's woke and that's not what I don't care about that. It's white supremacy. White supremacy allows us to be imperialistic dicks.
And fascism, for sure.
Yeah, fascism. Fascism and imperialism are intertwined because they're there for capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And capitalism is why we have these guys. I mean, Elon Musk said, we can coup whoever we want.
Yeah. That says it all right there.
Says it all. Says
I
it
mean,
all. But I
basically attacking countries, I figured it out. They took the American model and they made it flourish. Meanwhile, our own model that's used by like Italy and all these other European countries that looked at the whole industry where it comes about unionizing and protecting workers' rights and all this stuff, and giving people paid vacations, like it's like America has lost that. While other countries looked at us and said, this is the way we need to improve back in the 60s and 70s, and they tried to, they
so how do we
surpassed.
get that?
Yeah, and right.
how did we get that? We got that because in the 30s, for a
Right.
sliver of time,
Yeah.
FDR and his ilk were scared shitless because
Right.
people were so mad in the United States they were this close to turning communist.
Right.
And FDR had to sit there and talk to his fellow rich boys, because he was a rich boy, and say, look, guys, if you don't want the pitchforks and the freaking guillotines to come, we got to give the people some bones.
Right. And now,
Right. So he created the New Deal, and his class resented it from that moment on. They
yeah,
even want to overthrow him. And
Yeah.
then from that moment, they spent their time trying to dismantle the New Deal till the 1980s when they finally got someone like Reagan.
right.
You
Who
know,
who was against a lot of this stuff until he was shot and then started playing ball.
well, you know,
That's the pivotal moment if you look at it. Reagan
well,
was actually a Democrat. He switched to the Republican ticket, and he was still very much worker and union until after he got shot. What was it, 1980? Then all of a sudden, he took a dramatic shift,
right.
going along
But
with George.
he
George
also
Bush, you know?
was cool with taking away the guns from the Black Panthers.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, of
So
course.
that first memory, yeah, it's
Right, because that was California was an open carry state. Yeah,
Yeah.
before that.
he was like, oh,
Can't have
There
any
is black people
educated
doing with
black
guns.
people walking around with guns,
yeah,
policing the police. Can't have that.
yeah. Now we, like when you play video games like Street Fighter,
Right,
you have the alternate version of the character.
right,
So you got the brunette version, and then
right,
you get the blonde version.
right.
Trump is like the blonde version of Reagan. He's like the alternate. He's like, oh, I'm tired of playing Reagan. Okay, let me switch to Trump. Okay, blonde version.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, Reagan and Nixon were very smart guys. They were corrupt, but they were they weren't dummies. Like the media always. The problem is we have humor in this country, and I'm guilty of this too. We focus on the humor and the making fun of, the punching down aspects when it comes to politics, and all our night shows show that too. A lot of punching down, and we're not taking these guys seriously. And the thing is that we have to say, like, Reagan was an actor. You don't think he was acting dumb or acting like?
Well,
I don't remember. It's
have
like
you ever? No, he had
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, man. He literally, they said he had Alzheimer's at that
Oh
point.
no, of course he did. But I mean,
He was cooked.
But he would play it up too, I'm sure. To like during the trial of Ali North, I don't.
I guess, but there is a tape of Nixon, because he recorded himself, right?
Oh yes, Nixon. Yeah.
And he's like that. That should have been like the Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon, him and Nixon. He's like, hey Nixon. Dick. Yeah, man. Could you imagine Ronald Reagan being president of the United States? That idiot.
Bedtime for Bonzo.
He said that idiot. So that's what Nixon thought of Reagan.
Right.
But
Right.
an idiot works perfectly for the people around them. I know a lot of people think that Machiavelli's an asshole, and he was. But you got to read this playbook. The Prince is a very good book, because he says in it, don't look to a leader to see his qualities. Look at the people around him. They'll
Right.
tell you everything you need to know about the leadership.
Absolutely. And if you think about the art of war, our administration is not following it at all.
Oh, man. Hey, man. it's
Basic
5D
things
chess.
about not going against the troops, not going against the people. It's just like, this is, if you want to learn anything from the Chinese, I think you need to read the Sun Tzu, because it's like we're doing everything.
Oh, he's not even doing half the shit that Machiavelli talked in The Prince.
Right. It's just like, they're not strategists, these people.
No, they're not.
Greedy. They're just greedy.
But they've convinced many of us, and I think that's why so many of us are frozen in our place and really don't go, these guys are idiots. It was obvious before he even got elected he was going to do all this buffoonery, right? Now people are like, oh,
And that goes back to the humor thing, where people are like, oh, he's cute, or he's funny, or women are like, oh,
no,
he's handsome, or I think it's like, what? It's like,
he's a New York slumlord.
yeah, exactly.
There's nothing funny about a New York slumlord.
I mean, you could watch clips of him on David Letterman talking about, oh, I know those old people have money. Don't feel bad for them. because David Letterman used to invite him on the show and tease him about his evicting, people that pay their rent on time.
Mhm.
Like the elderly, they pay their rent on time. It's just, but those people have, and he was being anti-Semitic. He was basically targeting these old Jews that had these really nice apartments in Manhattan. I mean, you haven't been in the United States in a while, right? I mean, all of Third Avenue on, if you go from 90th Street all the way down to 80 fucking 6 or 80. All the tenement buildings are vacant, empty. Like they just stopped collecting people's rent and shut these buildings. It's a ghost town.
I could say that about parts here in France too,
And
man.
they're going to knock it down and build all these expensive housing that nobody can afford to live in. Kind of like Hudson Yards. You have apartments that are vacant and they're just tax shelters so that these landlords can collect, again, tax dollars for their losses. It's like, let's stop giving the rich. Forget about foreign aid. Stop paying the rich tax. Stop giving them our tax dollars,
And the foreign aid is a scam. We give them the money to buy our weapons.
Right, it's money laundering, basically.
It's like, here, you're going to buy some weapons. With what money? Here's the money.
Here's the money.
It's like, okay, and we're going to call it aid.
And the funniest thing about the China thing, it was in the Chinese newspaper, because, my wife is Chinese, is that we were giving jets to Taiwan, saying, oh, we're going to, pump up, their military. We're giving a lot of Taiwanese military planes. Guess what? A lot of the parts on those planes are made in China, and it says it on the plane. So if we're going to war with China, they're making our jets. It's like, come on. It doesn't make sense. How are you going to go to war with someone that's actually built, or it's actually manufacturing our military supplies?
Raytheon, the CEO of Raytheon said, we cannot decouple from China ever.
Right. So
there was a time, I remember there was an article, and I've been trying to find it again, that stated 90% of our equipment has black market components. And why? Let me explain to you capitalism. You buy low, you sell high. So you promise the US government, I'll make it for this much. Then you go, okay, I want to make a profit from this because I'm a company. Let me go find this shit equipment, put it together. Even if it kills off some soldiers, it's okay. It's war anyway. They're going to die anyway. Right. Here you go. Here's your plane. And it falls apart.
Yeah. Look at this. I just asked the questions. Is U.S. military equipment made in China? They're saying there's not a simple percentage, but it says 2024 reported over 40% of semiconductors were DoD systems. Over 78% of weapon systems rely on Chinese materials, especially critical minerals impacting everything from Navy ships, 91.6% reliance to fighter jets and missile programs. While the Navy and Army reduced some suppliers recently, dependence on Chinese components, particularly chips and minerals, remains a major national security concern, threatening critical defense systems.
We can't make chips.
Right. 78% minerals. 78%.
Yeah. I don't know if I sent this to you, but China controls 98% of the rare minerals on our planet. And not just getting it, because it can get it anywhere. But that's the processing of
Venezuela, because they have tons of minerals in Venezuela.
But you got to process it.
Yeah.
They own the equipment, and they produce the equipment on how to process this.
Well, they're going to probably give them a cut.
They literally have our scrotum sac in their hand.
Right.
With a scalpel next to it that we gave to them and said, please hold these.
Right.
We did it to ourselves. We literally castrated ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, the FA-18EF fighters, right? Those
and the F-35s are a piece of shit, by the way.
Yeah, the Arleigh Burke destroyers, Ford-class carriers, Minutemen III missiles, B-2 bombers, Tomahawk, and Patriot systems all use Chinese components.
Yeah.
You don't think there's fail-safes in those things? I'm sure
they
that.
if
we go to war with China, they're going to just start shutting off shit, malfunctioning shit. Things will probably just start dropping in the air. It's like
they already cut us off from the minerals.
Right.
and they just cut us off from the processing. We just wasted a whole bunch of weapons in Ukraine.
Right.
We wasted a whole bunch destroying Gaza because Israel didn't have all that weaponry. We sent it to them. So now we dropped a few more on Venezuela, and we're going to go to Iran. Iran's not going to be. Iran said we're not going to play the next time you mess with us. So we're running out. We're not producing enough to catch up with all the wars that these crazy nuts want. You know, it's just, it's a matter of it's not even a matter of morality at this point. It's a matter of math,
Right.
physical reality. You know, physical reality will fuck you up,
A lot of
man.
Americans are bad at math.
Yeah, yeah.
I will tell you this. When I worked in the South Bronx, I think it was like over 90% of the kids, failed the math exam. And that year, that we're going back like 2010, 2012.
What
right?
grade level?
High school.
Like
And
9, 10, like 11, 12, like
there's like 11th and 12th graders.
okay. All right.
And then well, actually it's a high school, so it's 9 through 12, right? They're taking their test. And then nationally, I remember it was over 50% failing the math state exams that we had to take when we were kids, right? So over 50%. I'm in a tech school, a magnet school right now in Jersey. So like it's still pretty high. We only had 21% passing rate. And these are like kids that deal with programming and stuff, and they're like in these programs. They're not regular high school kids. They're all taking technology. They're learning like infrastructure of computers and like working with them. But even with that level, you know, these are not dumb kids, but the basic math skills are really still poor. 21% passing for the state of New Jersey. It says like what?
My dad used to teach at the university level.
Right.
My dad started computing when computing engineering and science didn't even exist. It was called electrical engineering. So he's both, right? And one of his big issues that he had is too many of the kids that he would get were taught to go to programming first. Now, any electrical engineers out there know you start with flow charts. This is why we can't create new architecture. Basically, creating new programs, not just necessarily coding, but creating new systems from scratch. Because our kids aren't being taught the architecture from the get-go. They're going right into the programming, and that's already architecture. So whether you're talking the education level, lack of materials, lack of skilled workers, all this, it's all going to hit a head. And we have an empire that's highly technological, but the people that run it want to run it like it's 18th or 17th century Spain, when they only had muskets, swords, and wooden boats. It can't work that way. You can't have this divide of rich and poor this way if you want to run this. Like I said, greed versus dominance. And we're going to lose. We're going to lose. And it's not going to be a matter of just because Miguel says we're going to lose. It's just when you look at all the things, the factors there. And I don't believe in Hail Marys. There's no Hail Mary in that.
Right.
I'm sorry to tell you. It's just,
I mean, you think the Trump administration would just use AI to say, hey, what are the possibilities? Look at this. It's like
AI can't reason.
It can't, but I think it's funny. Yeah. It's just like, but the AI is much smarter than these people running this country.
Which is saying a lot.
I mean,
which is saying a lot.
I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. It says, what will the U.S. gain from invading Venezuela? That's what I asked, right? So it says access to oil reserves. It's a no-brainer. We've been talking about that. The minerals we talked about.
But then they have heavy crude. Their crude is heavy crude. We can't process that.
We can't process that. We'll have to basically let the Saudis do that. We have gold, iron ore, and bauxite, right? But then I wrote, like, what are the downsides? And then it says power vacuum of instability. Removal of Maduro could create a significant power vacuum leading to further destabilization, chaos, and potential increase in migration and proliferation of arms groups. Yep. International law and precedent. Unilateral action would be seen as a violation of international law. Yep. And could set a dangerous precedent, undermining U.S. diplomatic standing globally. Yep. And long-term quagmire. Yeah. Another Iraq or Afghanistan. A short targeted strike might, but attempt to run or stabilize a country afterward could lead to prolonged and costly occupation, insurgency similar to post-invasion Iraq or Afghanistan. So yeah, I mean, that's all they had to do. Trump could have just been like texting on his phone.
There are people who go to school for this.
It's like
There are people that go to school for this that he could have hired if he cared.
I'm a comic artist. We're comic book artists.
Like,
there's less than a minute to look at that, right?
Like, come on. Like, come on.
These guys study politics. They run our country, our infrastructure, and they couldn't say, "Oh, let's see what ChatGPT thinks."
No, because we also live in a country who too many of us believe in this whole manifestation shit.
Right.
I say it, therefore it will happen.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. Anyone who believes in a God, and this is something I firmly believe, right?
Mhm.
I adhere to. If you believe in a God, and you've read those two books, Jesus, who was the Son of God, asked God to take that cup away from him. And his daddy said, boy, you're going up on that cross.
That's right.
If you think for a second that supposedly this God that will throw your ass in hell for looking at boobies,
right,
is going to give two shits,
right,
about your manifesting, and you think you're going to like he's like a app that you order from, whatever.
right.
I got some news for you. It ain't going to happen. Not going to happen.
Here's a scenario: 5-10 years from now, right? Where this is not like Iraq or Afghanistan, which is far, far away.
Yeah.
We're going to have, let's say we go to war with Mexico and expand this war. You're going to have cartels in the United States running certain states. You're going to have other Hispanic states crossing over into the U.S. You might have Canadians fighting on the side of Mexico, right? Because we have that trilateral deal, we had that trilateral deal with Mexico and the U.S. that the United States has violated, and we've already threatened Canada to go to war with Canada. If we try to expand our war in Canada, foolishly, you're going to have the Canadians and the Mexicans versus the United States. And what you're going to end up having is a massive white exodus from the U.S. going back to Europe.
They don't want them here. They don't want them here, dude. They don't want them here. And I'll explain something to you.
They're gonna be trying to where do we go? Escape. You can't go to Mexico. No more.
They don't want them here.
No more.
They don't want them here. Let me explain something to you that's really kind of been hitting me as time goes on. Imperialism is the failure of having a sustainable economy. Europe, for lack of resources, a lack of imagination and ingenuity, and God knows they always say we're the most inventive and everything else. Basically, their economies always ran for war, to the point that all these poor people lived in misery.
Right.
And when the populations boomed, what did they do? Hey, America? Yeah, let's dump them over there. That was their solution. That's like when you're a kid and you're like, shit, I don't want to clean up all these candy bars. What do? Hey, that closet? Let me just shove it in there.
Right.
Right. And then what did we do? Because we start to have all these people coming in and filling up New York. One of the big reasons that there was a civil war wasn't because of slavery per se. It was for the fight because the South wanted these new territories that we stole from the Mexicans to expand the plantation system. The Northeast families were like, fuck this shit. We're getting all these immigrants coming over here from Europe, poor as shit. We need to kick them out over there. So the whole run for the West was to dump out all the poor. So you have England dumping their poor in the East Coast, and then we dump our poor out in the West Coast. No solutions on how to run an economy.
Right.
So the Europeans don't want them back. They're like, no, you keep those assets. We sent them over there for a reason.
Right. Right. I mean, it was a penal colony, right? The United States at one point, right?
Virginia, Georgia. And let's be fair. What were their crimes? They were poor. That was their crimes.
Right.
They didn't have employment. We are so quick, I think sometimes, Australia, but what were their crimes? They didn't have jobs. The
Right.
crime was these people not being able to have an imagination to go, yeah, you know what? We should feed the poor. We should get our shit together. They're like, fuck this shit. I gotta fight France. Hey, let's steal some more gold from the Mexicans over there and bring it over here and fund this shit and throw
Right.
these poor people. And if there's too many of them, we'll ship them over to the Americas. That's insane.
It's insane. It's an
It's
insane
insane.
system that we live in. It really doesn't make any sense.
But I'll tell you, Mexico has a region that the government doesn't control. And
Mhm,
it isn't from the cartels. I think it's Chiapas,
mhm.
which they've been fighting with them forever and a day. There are places Mexico will mess us up, man. They might get Cali back. I don't know. At this
Right.
point, they might get Cali back. I don't know.
California, Colorado,
Texas.
Arizona, Texas. And this is what happens when you have oligarchs just trying to divide the country, divide the people. Did you do your homework and watch that movie, Civil War, that I told you about? Yeah, have you checked that out yet? Because that's kind of like where we're heading. I really
Oh, that's that one that came out.
from A24 Studios. Yeah,
Yeah, it came out. Yeah, it's gonna be.
it's a little
Here's
scary.
what I think. Have you ever seen the episode of Twilight Zone? The monsters came to Maple Street.
Maybe I've seen almost.
It's the one where the electricity stops and then everyone gets paranoid on each other because the aliens decided to turn off the electricity.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, that sounds
We're headed to that, but without the aliens doing it.
right. Well, we're
'Cause I think the state of our union is tied to our electric grid. I really do believe that.
I always tell my students, you think things are bad, wait till the satellites fall from the skies and we're back to the Stone Age with no electricity.
We're not upkeeping shit. Like we have to upkeep stuff. This idea of having a subclass of just like people you can laugh at because they work at McDonald's
Right.
is stupid.
And ignoring these international things, like, you have a return of slavery in parts of Africa,
Mhm.
because and the Chinese and the United States and other countries have talking about rotting infrastructure. They have no infrastructure in the Congo, and they're letting these people dig up these minerals in the worst possible conditions. You think, hey, I'm a billionaire. Let's create a safety net for these people and create job, give them a uniform, build some infrastructure for them. So
Masks.
and mask and yeah, because you have children digging cobalt and they're gonna get cancer, and they have tumors in their brains and stuff like that.
Also, we can have these things.
They you think no, they want to scrape every fucking penny and have these people basically in the worst conditions where they don't even have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out or even housing. It's basically a bunch of homeless people that they turn into slaves. There's no pay, there's no salary, or they pay them very little, depending on which part of the Congo you're in.
This is why they're freaking out over Burkina Faso
You know?
and Mali
Yeah.
and Niger because they've kicked all of us out.
Yeah.
Europeans already got kicked out. They're like, take your shit and don't come back. Burkina Faso and Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso actually said have banned Americans from going there. We're not allowed there.
Right.
And they dig out uranium, they dig out gold, they're rebuilding their infrastructure.
Mhm.
And if and when, because I believe that it'll be a when, Africa gets its shit together, the rest of the world's fucked. Because the rest of the world has taken advantage of Africa, and it's it's long overdue,
Oh yeah.
long overdue. And you know, when Europeans complain about Chinese being in, and this just bakes my noodle, or even us being in Africa, I'm like, we have 5 centuries of abusing that continent. 5 centuries.
Yeah.
Whatever China does, it's not 5 centuries of enslavement, colonization,
Right.
creating countries that don't exist, extermination, and all the other shit.
Yeah.
To try to equate the two is beyond dishonest,
Yeah.
you know. So, and there is another history that we don't talk about that not very many people know. Why a lot of African countries like South Africa and others favor China and Russia. And that history is because the Soviet Union was against apartheid, and so was China.
Right.
Who helped Angola? Well, it was Cuba, the Soviet Union, and all the communists. We don't learn that history. For some reason, we don't know why Che was hanging out in Angola, right? It's
Right.
like, then there's Zambia. I think I might have said this before. Zambia was asking the United States and England, who had bases there, to build them a simple train system so they could go from point A to point B. They said no. This was 1960s or 1970s China, still with bicycles. They
Right.
said, we'll help you build it. They built it. Along that railroad, both Africans and Chinese died along the way. A
Mhm.
lot of the rest of the world runs off old money. Old money, meaning I remember when you were there for me. Not I pay you, it's transactional. I'm done, I'm gone.
Right.
Our problem as Americans and Westerners, we're transactional.
Mhm.
But the rest of the world will remember the slights that we did, but we're not strong.
Right.
And they're going to remember that shit. And that's why they still have good feelings towards the Soviet Union and China. No matter how much we like it or dislike it, it's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
So,
Yeah. It's just like, geez, Louise. You know,
yeah. It's
it really is. It's just, I don't know, man. I was really like hopeful, but waiting for the other shoe to drop at the same time. You know, not delusional, but just like, well, we'll give it a few months. This motherfucker wants to make sure that he doesn't get taken out of office. You know, he's trying to ensure his place in this forever. Like he wants to end elections. You know, it doesn't. It. People would say, "Hey, you're being paranoid," but the man has said it from the minute he got into the office. He said it, right? And even before he got in the office, he says, "I'll be a dictator from day one."
well,
And he is.
let me say something. You know, I was literally born in a country with a dictatorship,
Mhm,
supported by our country.
mhm. Yeah,
But take someone like Napoleon.
right.
Napoleon ended up exiled and died from stomach cancer.
Mhm.
What one wants and where one ends up,
Two different
there's a
places.
lot of shit that can happen between that point and the final point.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we don't get what we want.
Right.
And that even goes for the most mighty and powerful people. And what they want is they want to be immortal. He doesn't think he's going to die.
Right.
He thinks he's going to live on forever. That's why he thinks he can run again. Dude looked like he's like
Purple ankles, purple hands.
he's in the grave, man. He's in the grave.
Yeah.
But his mind won't see that. But
They lack the inner perception of finality.
yeah,
Especially in his 80s, right? I mean, he's not a young buck.
no,
Best he has 5 years left of his life. If he makes it to the end of these 4 years, he's gonna be on his deathbed.
unless that
Yeah.
Big Mac assassin gets him.
Unless he's doing the procedures that Chinese are doing, like I don't know if you've been paying attention to like Jet Li, all those, and a lot of these celebrities are looking much younger because they're having liver transplants. So, like you look at Madonna, you look at Jet Li, their bodies are euthanizing because they're doing organ replacement now. That's the big Hollywood thing, the big Hollywood secret that TMZ is not covering, but the TMZ in China is, and even
Madonna doesn't look like she's getting younger.
Oh, you look at some pictures of her recently. She had the pillow face, and then she went from pillow face to looking, you got to take a look. It's Brad Pitt also, a lot of these. But Jet Li specifically, there's a lot of stuff about, there was this Buddhist guy that Jet Li was looking at, paying attention to, and then the guy ended up dead in a car accident and then missing organs. And then Putin's visit to China, they were caught on a hot mic talking about that, about organ transplant. Remember, Putin had cancer. They were saying that he was terminal just 3 years ago.
They say a lot of shit, man. They also tried to kill Castro 689 times and couldn't do it. They say a lot of shit.
And the Chinese media, they're all talking about organ transplant, how the elites are actually transporting organs and benefiting them, extending their lives.
We'll see.
The Chinese president said that he's going to live to 151 with the organ transplants. But the downside is that which they don't realize, reality is that organ transplants, you have to take medication to maintain those organ replacements because your body is in constant rejection mode of them. Your body doesn't just say, hey, come on in. It recognizes it as a foreign object in your body and it tries to attack it and destroy it.
Right. Unless somehow you can, it's your own that you clone, and
yes,
clones are actually not that great because they degenerate quicker.
Yes,
but hey
man, I've had stem cells in my leg when it was healing, and I was really impressed by the rapid of how quickly my leg healed.
Right. But yeah, I mean, about Putin, they said a lot of stupid shit. They said he was going to die like 2 days later. I'm like, come on. And, they say a lot of shit about...
There is a lot of garbage out there.
If anything, we again feed into the idea that they're more powerful than they are. They're just people.
Yeah.
A great example of this, this is going to sound insane, but in Europe, they literally believed that the king was a representation of God on earth.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So when Cromwell, that miserable bastard that he was, because believe it or not, it was the English who first killed their king. It wasn't the French.
Right.
It was the English. And so they captured the king, Charles, the first. We're on the third now, but the first. And he's like, yeah, we're going to kill him. And they're like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, why? The sun won't rise. He's like, yeah, watch. They killed him. Sun rose.
Like, hey, we can kill anybody.
It's like, whatever. So you get to be 150. What are all the other drawbacks to it?
Right, exactly.
Besides, I had a cousin that lived, and he actually met President Obama, Richard Overton. He lived to 114. He drank whiskey and smoked a cigar every day.
Right.
We really don't know what makes us live longer. We don't even know what makes us fucking intelligent and not intelligent. We can't even measure that shit.
We can't even measure the soul.
We can't measure. We don't even know how we ride bikes. Like, look it up. It's a thing. We don't know mechanically how we can ride a bike.
Right.
To me, that's just the wildest thing ever. So when we start going into these, which is great for us, we're fiction writers. Right. That's what we do. This is great. Well, what if this? And you play off of it and you get the Stranger Things and it's fun and everything else. But then the actual hard reality is, and this is why we shouldn't be shocked when we get slapped with reality and things start to fall apart. We're like, oh, wow, they weren't really in control. No, they weren't. The jail cell was always open. We didn't have to be inside.
Right.
It's
an agreed, like you said, it's an illusion, right? It's a belief.
It's an illusion. It's a total illusion.
Yeah.
But we all agree to it. As much as I could sit there and say they're Wile E. Coyote, My next question is, why do we believe Wile E. Coyote?
Right.
Why don't we just go, that didn't work out the last time, you idiots. Don't bother me with this shit,
Right.
right? Wouldn't we say that to someone that we knew that was a personal friend of ours that kept screwing up? Be like, man, don't get me involved in this dumb shit. You got me already. Get out of here,
It's
right?
like I had to tell my students in prison, you already got locked up. Whenever they steal from me, I'm like, you're already here. You're already fucked up. Like, you're not good at this. Like, you lost the lottery. You fucking played the criminal lottery and lost. You're sitting in prison looking at time. Change. Do better.
Why not? What do you have to, what do you have to lose?
It's like it's not working out for you. And it's funny because they start cracking up. Like some of the guys that like laughed. They're like, yeah, he's right. Like, oh shit. Like he cut in deep. Like, like you're so unsuccessful that you weren't even successful at being a thief.
Yeah.
You took your shot and you're not good. You're not good at anything, and now you're not good at this either. It's something basic. It's like,
Yeah, leave it alone.
leave it alone. Make a change. Try to be a better person. Try to be good.
Yes, man in the mirror.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, be good.
Right? Man, it's just
Yeah.
but the reminder is there, why do we believe them?
Right.
And they're just like those guys, except they don't go to jail. But they screw everything up. Time and time again. And then time and time again, we have new generations that we have to go, okay, you remember the Iraq War? Oh, you weren't born yet. Okay, let me explain to you how this worked. Right? And then the ones experiencing now Venezuela will one day have to sit down with a generation who's like, why is this happening? And they'll be like, okay, well, Venezuela, they lied us into this whole thing. And it just seems like to be perpetual. Eventually, we have to say, look, obviously, if they start telling us it's about this or that, they're going to get us in some bullshit.
And it's the same script of when we took over Iraq and tore down statues and shit, and people were celebrating. Yeah, some people were generally happy that Saddam Hussein was done, but he was almost out of power anyway. His days were already numbered. There were already people that were trying to start elections, and there was already a political group that was planning to take him out of power.
Well, it happened in Syria with this guy Assad or whatever his name was.
Mm-hmm.
We overthrew him, and then we put that Al Qaeda guy in there.
Right.
The guy that was
Syria,
and still is wanted by us. I think it's like $31 million reward to catch this guy.
Right.
So it's just like, we got to stop thinking that we're running around playing Avengers.
Right.
We're like the Legion of Doom. At least be honest, man.
Right.
We're not Captain America.
No, far from it.
And we don't have Brainiac, that's for sure.
No, far from it. We are not the good guys. We're Darth Vader. We just gone full Darth Vader now,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Andor season 2.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it yet. I gotta watch that. I gotta binge it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's like, dude, it's not good. We're not in a good place. We are not in a good place. And and I laugh with hope that we can overcome this, but
we will.
It's like
you will see to the other side of this. I'm serious about it. I do. I know I don't know, because no one knows what the future holds, but we are going to go through a trial by fire. We're going to go through this fire, and we will not be the same on the other side of this, and it will forever haunt us. It's going to stay with us.
Yeah.
And it's time we acknowledge there's a shitstorm, that we sowed the wind and we reaped the whirlwind.
And
it's coming.
And our people, our soldiers We never fucking learn. I mean, there was a guy that was younger than me. He was my cousin's stepson, and he did, I think, 3 tours. He did 3 tours, 2 in Afghanistan, I think, 1 in Iraq. And he came back, and he was cursed from his thoughts of what happened out there. I mean, and eventually, doctors, medications, VA is shit, first off. But the guy, like,
Yeah.
it was like 2 or 3 Christmases ago, put the present under the tree, got everything set up, went outside and blew his brains out on Christmas Day. Like, he was only like 28 or something, or like 30. Like, he was like a young guy. I mean, it's just like,
My brother, when he got into the Rangers, was trying to get me to go in.
yeah,
Oh man, he was trying to be very persuasive about it.
yeah,
And I was like, fuck no. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I don't want to go into the military to go be some peon for some oil company.
right,
I was 17. I'm like, fuck that shit.
yeah,
I'm not gonna do that. And it's not like I don't believe that you should defend your country. I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that by going to oppress others, we do that.
No,
And it leads to psychological problems. Even when you do defend your own country, you're going to end up messed up anyway, because there's going to be some things you do that are not
righteous
going to
or
be.
not, it's going to always end up with that, whether it's a
Mhm.
righteous cause or unrighteous. We're not liberating anybody. We're just enriching ourselves.
Yeah.
There is no higher moral ground when it comes to these wars.
We're not even honest about it. I mean, Trump's probably been the most honest, though. We're going to go steal their oil.
Right.
Right.
And you see this clip about how well we need their resources. We need their shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even George Bush at the time, I remember when, remember they had that whole Saddam Hussein body double thing going on. The paper just kept saying, "Oh, he's got a double." And I think they were saying that because they bombed the shit out of the country, and the guy was still driving around, like saying, "I'm still here. Look at me. I'm here. We're not."
Well, they just tried to bomb Putin's mansion.
They try to kill him. Yeah.
They just tried to do that. And Zelensky's coming out saying, well, if they did that to Maduro, you know what that means next.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, we're going to get some hot nukes up the butt.
Yo,
And then we're going to be like, where did LA go?
Venezuela is not Russia.
And Russia's not Venezuela. I'm sorry, but I think we're going to have to learn that lesson, because there's some of us, I think the
Right.
majority of us, I'll tell you something. A perfect example. You've seen Akira? I'm assuming you've seen Akira.
Yeah, that's the fucking movie.
That's the movie. Right?
That's the movie of all movies. The book is even better.
The book is even better.
Yeah.
What I loved about Katsuhiro Otomo's Akira was he basically slapped us Americans in the face and said, hey, you know that superpower stuff you're talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's say we get a runt and he gets superpowers, like a Peter Parker, right?
Mm-hmm.
A real runt will become the bully. And that's what he shows with Tetsuo. And that's the reality. And the thing is that many of us are more like Tetsuo before he has his powers.
Yeah.
And Tetsuo would get his ass kicked all the time.
Yeah.
He only got revenge because he got those powers.
Right.
And a lot of us are Tetsuo.
And
A lot of us are Tetsuo, dude.
Yeah. A lot of innocent people died on that path, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just because he was a little bully, insecure bully.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, and I don't know if he ever said it, but I think it was sort of an answer to all of our, I'm weak, I got superpowers. And I have my issues with the whole superpower thing. From a guy, I trained martial arts with my brother for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
He continued on. He loved it. I just did it because I was with him.
Yeah.
And there's something that has to be said about the Asian storylines versus the Western storylines.
Right.
I got bitten by a spider. Now I know how to fight. I can do all this shit. Hey, I want to learn kung fu. Let me jab this thing into you and hit the keyboard. I know kung fu.
Right,
Which,
right,
when you watch martial arts films,
right,
when you see those dudes, what they do,
right.
it's all skill. They work their asses off. If you watch the early Jackie Chan films, there's a series where he ends up meeting up with this old guy and he needs to learn a technique from him. And this guy just tortures the shit out of him, training him, right? But
Right,
by the time he meets the other guy who's really, dangerous dude, he beats him because he worked up to that.
right,
That's a work ethic.
right.
What we're feeding our kids is like, dude, you're gonna get bitten by a spider. Then you're gonna have all the powers in the
That's
world, and you're the best.
more like you get a fever and you drop dead.
Right, right. But I'm just saying, and it's not like I don't enjoy that stuff. I love Spider-Man. I love all that stuff. It's fictional. But on
Right.
the other hand, it's like when you think about it, you're like, but we're not really teaching our kids sort of a work ethic.
No,
Like
it's all shortcuts.
it's all shortcuts. Everything's a shortcut. When you see something like a Musashi, right?
Mhm.
Dude's like best swordsman. It's because he worked his ass off.
Right.
And here we are, the Protestant work ethic. And how are our societies built anyway? On slave labor. We
Yeah.
get other people to do our shit. So I don't know.
Well, as a teacher, I'm guilty of that too. I say learn the rule, then learn how to break it.
Right.
That's what art is. You learn the rules and then you break the rules, right? It's like
Well,
it's like
but you still have to learn it.
yeah, that's true.
Well,
You still have to learn it. Yeah.
what's being taught to kids,
Just break it.
just break it. But I don't know what the rule is. Just break it. Be you. Do this, do that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
all about you, baby.
it's the feelings. It's like, no, you still have to, but you're still teaching the rule. Here are the rules. Learn how to use it, know why you break it, and know when to use it when you're going to use it, right?
Yeah, use it. Yeah, figure
It's
it
not, everything's instant gratification. There's an app for it, right?
right.
So,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. We're in crazy town. Full throttle. Full throttle crazy town. We're here.
lemmings, we're going over that cliff.
Going over that fucking cliff with a smile.
Did you ever see the movie The Other Guys?
No.
Oh shit. It's with Will Ferrell. And I don't really like him all that much. What's the Marky Mark, Funky,
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg, yeah. Those two.
We're showing our age. Funky Punch.
Yeah, I know.
Kids are like, what is that? What's a funky?
So there's the scene with The Rock and Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spoil it for you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay.
Okay.
I probably
So,
won't.
they're these two hotshot cops. They're doing all this shit. They blow everything up, and everybody celebrates them. And Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell are just like the other guys. They're just the losers, right?
Yeah.
So there's a point in the movie where The Rock and Samuel Jackson are up on a building, and they look down, and they think, "Hey, what if we just jump?" They're like, "Yeah," and they jump. But they fall. And boom, hit the pavement, dead.
Break their legs. Hilarious. That does
We're at
sound
that
familiar.
point.
That does sound familiar, actually, now that you said that.
Yeah, that was actually it was a laugh out loud movie because at the end, Will Ferrell was like a former accountant or something that became a cop, so he had figured out all this housing shit fraud that was actually going on, and nailed this gangster based on all the tax fraud. But it ends with all the shit that Wall Street does and how it gets away with stuff. That's the only reason I like that movie.
Right.
But I laughed my ass off because we're at that point where Samuel Jackson and The Rock look at each other like, yeah, and you're like, what? And they just jump and they're smiling. And they're like going down. They're like, yeah. It's just like completely unexpected. Boom, both of them dead on the
That's
pavement.
hilarious. So,
So a nice cheery 2026.
for real, for real. How did you spend your holiday?
At home with my kids and just chilling like a villain.
Chilling like Bob Dylan. Yeah.
And you?
I went to a party in Brooklyn with my wife and bring some people out. We've been going to the same place for like over 10 years.
Oh,
A part of me wanted to change it up and go to another friend's house, but my wife's like, no, this is our tradition. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
okay. Did you have fun?
oh yeah, yeah, you know me. I can have fun. You know, you put me in a fucking padded cell, I'll have fun. I know you
Don't
put
give
me-
them any ideas, man.
you go. I could make lemonade out of a dead rat. It's like I'll show you something which is pretty funny. I had to freak him out though. I was like, let me change this up. You know, I was like, what is the look for 2026? That's what I had to like think to myself, like, what is the fit for 2026 with the shit that's going on? And I was like, oh, how about Eyes Wide Shut meets hip hop, right? What does that look
And you
like?
mean P. Diddy?
You know, I was like,
Some
P.
baby oil.
it's like that was
Jay-Z,
ready. So I was
R.
like,
Kelly.
right. I was like, I want to like go there and like freak people out, like, you know, just kind of like have that look, like try to get
Oh, I saw you with that mask.
with a fucking go. Yes, the
I saw you with the mask and you had the jacket, right? Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on your Facebook, man.
you should have saw the faces. They were like, "What the fuck?" That one, love this one. It's like I call it my C3PO.
Damn, you should have been handing out Illuminati cards, man.
For real, dude.
Freaking them out. We got an eye on you.
Dude, they were just like, there was like,
We got an eye on you.
like people were like spooked. You know, people that know me cracked up laughing. They're like, "Oh my god, he's doing it again! Like he's nuts!" And then there was literally like one person that just like everyone knows each other. We've been meeting for like a decade, but somebody was so uncomfortable. They're like, "Just take it off, please." And I'm like, "Hey, man, we wear a mask every day. What's the difference?" You know,
Crazy, man.
you know, to me, it's just all fun and games. You know, you gotta
laugh, man.
you gotta
have to
laugh. You know, you gotta pull some people. You gotta tug at their little tailcoat a little bit, and you know, like give them a little nudge, like, hey, you know, it's like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
even this podcast that we're doing, you know, we're talking about comics, we're talking about the conditions of the world, but at the end of the day, you know, it's just you and I having a conversation, right?
That's it. It's
all
like,
it is. It's a conversation. I can't make a phone call and say, hey, tell Trump to cut the shit out already. I wish I could, but you know, it's like it's like
let me put it this way, and I'm sure you've dealt with narcissists. You can never, ever, ever get narcissists to do anything that they don't want to.
right.
So yeah, even if you could call up and tell them, he'd be like, "Fuck you."
My God-given right.
Yeah.
It's my right to do so. I deal with narcissists so many, you know, living in New York is filled with narcissists, and
Yeah.
social media has made it worse.
Yeah. It's made it worse because we now know who all the narcissists are.
I'm an educator. Educators are filled with narcissists, you know.
Yeah.
People get mad at me because I'm so laid back as a teacher for years. They're just like, what's wrong with this guy? I remember one time I was subbing a class in the South Bronx, and they were asking these kids, preparing them for the test, what year was the Cold War over? And then they said 1991, George Bush, right? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? What about 9/11? It never ended. We're still in the Cold War, you know? I mean, look what Ukraine, what's going on. All our
Technically, when did it start?
right.
It started with the Soviet, with the Russian Revolution.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people don't know
right.
that during World War One, when we were duking it out with Turkey, because everyone forgets that we were fighting Turkey too and Germany, that we sent a bunch of troops to mess with, along with the French and the English and the Japanese, to fuck with the Russians while they're in the middle of a civil war, to
Right.
try to side up with the Tsar, to help the Tsar.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we're surprised that these motherfuckers hate our guts. Like,
Right.
we've been playing Tom and Jerry with them for a long time. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
and the thing is, I got yelled at by another teacher. Don't tell them that. They're gonna get the answer wrong on the test. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what
yeah.
are you talking about? It's true.
Yeah. And the
It's
big reason we
true.
had the Cold War, like a lot of people make it seem like, oh, the Soviet Union. Soviet Union was a poor country.
Mm-hmm.
It lost like 26 million people.
Mm-hmm.
It was decimated. It was trying to build its industry because it was an agrarian society. And there wasn't shit the Soviet Union was going to be able to do to us on the other side. We literally were the only country standing with 4 limbs. Everyone else was basically lost all their limbs.
Right.
And we needed to make this big freaking hoopla, you know, oh, there's this, that, and the other, and just like us, because the arms dealers had made so much money during World War II. They're like, holy shit, it's over? What do we do?
Right.
Oh, yeah, Russia. And then we got into this stupid shit. And then we're actually, it's amazing that Russia even did what it did with the little it had at first.
Right.
You think about it, they landed shit on Mars. They landed shit on, it was Venus. They did a whole bunch of different shit too, but they did it on a shoestring budget. They didn't have that much. They weren't even trading with us.
Have you read this book here? The Russian Revolution here for Beginner's Guide. Have you seen this?
Oh man, no, I took a university course on it though.
Yeah.
It was I was very intrigued about the Russian Revolution, which is confusing as fuck.
And I actually wanted to talk about Persepolis today, but next time because
oh, Persepolis.
Yeah, I mean, Persepolis was, you know.
And things have changed in Iran too. Now women don't have to walk around with their headscarves anymore.
Right.
So
Yeah, and that's the thing.
changing.
Americans haven't updated their information. Like, you know, they're like, oh, like a lot of my Christian family talk about, hey, you know, well, you know, they have Sharia law, they have this. I was like, what are you talking about? They have to wear burqas. I was like, no, they don't. Have you seen the videos of people
First of all, Iranians are Persian.
Right.
They're not Arab.
Right. So I mean, but this is like this is the mentality that the United States has.
Yeah.
They're not even up to date, you know?
Yeah. And I can tell you, I know the lady that wrote Persepolis, she left in the 80s.
Yeah.
Dude, I left Spain in the 80s as a kid. I went back in 2006. It's not the same Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see other people from different countries who came from places that are really messed up, and you have it frozen in your skull that the country is still the way it was when you were there 30, 40 years ago. And then when you go back, you're like, huh? Right. It's not the same.
It's like going into Manhattan. It's like, I think it's regular. I got lost twice in Manhattan yesterday.
Oh, did you?
I don't recognize shit anymore. All the landmarks are gone. It's just what happened to this city.
I heard that about people in China, and I've had clients. I had one lady who's Black American. She teaches English in China. And we had a conversation, and she was saying, she's been living there for 12 years. She says, yeah, all the stuff that you hear about China is all horseshit.
Oh, yeah.
It's all horseshit. But there are people who've moved away from China, went back, and they're like, holy shit, I don't recognize this place anymore. Even in a 5-year time period.
Right.
Do they have their problems? Fucking right they do.
Yeah, sure.
But you know,
There's a lot of resistance there too. I mean, they're not
But we're in the hospice. They're in the emergency room.
right.
I think we got to work to get out of the hospice
Right.
and not worry about them in the emergency room. Be like, yeah, you deal with your shit. I got my shit. I got to get together.
Right.
Right.
I mean, even Taiwan. I've been to Taiwan 6 times, I think.
Mhm.
And I remember the first time I went, I was always asking people, like, what do you think about China and the war and missiles pointing at China? And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they had no fucking clue. You go to Taiwan, they're the most chill, relaxed people. Nobody's worried about China. This is all like American propaganda. That's when I realized that everything that we hear on television about other countries is a load of horse shit.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's a load of horse shit. Nobody in Taiwan's worried about going to war with China. Nobody. You know, it's just these little puppets that they try to put in to play so that
Cause shit.
to cause shit.
To cause shit.
You know,
Years ago, when I was working at an academy in Spain, and there was a young American man, a young American who was a white dude.
young
working with me.
American, young American.
Yeah, young Americans. Anyway, he had told me he used to go to Ukraine a lot because he had friends in Ukraine. And one day I walk into the academy. He's like, "Hey, Miguel, did you see what we did in Ukraine? Did you see what's going on in Ukraine?"
Mhm.
And by default, I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, all right, what the fuck did we do now?
Right.
Right. So we started talking. It was a whole thing with you remember when they went into protest
Right.
the government and then they overthrew the government?
Mhm.
It was that period. And he was saying, man, I was just there like 2 months ago. I
Mhm.
didn't even see so much as an anti-government graffiti on the wall. He
Right.
says, "So I don't know what's going on here." And I had another friend who was in the Spanish military was looking at it going, yeah, you see a lot of those guys with the really nice, fancy uh, um, flat jackets and shit. Yeah, those guys have got to be mercs.
Mhm.
So right from the get-go, we've been doing shit all over the place. And then the thing is that
Oh, yeah.
we do shit, then shit blows up and like, look at them Europeans.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, they're always starting shit. It's like, dude, you're the one who knocked out their lights. Now you want to give them a
Right.
ticket.
We're destroying their infrastructure. We're bombing them. We're like destroying shit. I mean, look what we did to Iraq and how much money it took to bring it back. And then Afghanistan, which is even worse because after 20 years of actually making some social changes and bringing things back, we just handed it back to the Taliban and they just, what the fuck was that?
Well, here's the thing, right? Before we went in, the Soviets had gone to help the government there. In the
Right.
60s and 70s, Afghanistan had in
Democracy.
Kabul.
Yeah. I wouldn't say democracy, but you know,
It was,
It's
you
much
know,
better
it was progressive in the sense
progressive.
that
It was progressive. That's the
it was
word.
progressive. Women were getting educated. All
They
this
were
other shit.
westernized. They were westernized. Yeah.
And then, in our wanting to get back to the Soviet Union, because they had gone in,
Yeah, we
and
radical.
wanting to get back to them for what happened in Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
who did we fund?
Mm-hmm.
The Taliban.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And then shit happens with 9/11,
Yeah.
which had nothing to do with the Taliban, had everything to do with other actors.
Mm-hmm.
Then we say, we got to go in Afghanistan. We got to save those people. We're Captain America, right? And then 20 years later, after killing a whole bunch of people, screwing up our soldiers' brains, scrambling them, we walked out and Taliban took over again. Historically speaking, we would never take Afghanistan. It's impossible to hold Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember when we went in we went in the first time because I know Trump wants to go in again. I remember putting up a quote on social media and people just like, "What are you, Wes? Screw you." Alexander the Great, not Trump the Great. Alexander the Great, who everybody reveres, little tyrant that he was, but he said Afghanistan was the steel wall. Every Afghan, he said, is an Alexander the Great. That's how hard it was for him to try to take Afghanistan. And you're talking about a guy who grew up being taught by Aristotle, not fucking like McDonald's or Cracker Jack Aristotle from, a little Cracker Jack box. You're
Right.
talking like the real Aristotle that all these guys with the Roman avatars love to quote, Aristotle. And he couldn't do it. And we think we were going to do it. Good luck. Good luck with that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This
I
shit you just
that the Russians were Russian troops that were Vietnam veterans were like, hey, you guys need to admit that we were in Vietnam because we need health care for Agent Orange because they're old
yeah.
elderly folks. And technically it was a Cold War. Russia wasn't there. It was a proxy war. But we had Russian troops on the ground in the Vietnam War,
Mhm.
just like we had Russian troops in Cuba, and that blonde chick that was helping out Che Guevara.
The story of the woman that avenged Che Guevara is fucking wild, man.
Yeah.
I have to find her name maybe for the next show. It is the stuff of movies.
Yeah.
Because they cut off his hands and all that shit. But
Oh yeah.
she came from a Nazi family,
Mhm.
hated her family,
Mhm.
joined Che Guevara,
Mhm.
and then when he got killed, she found that son of a bitch, and she killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Crazy stuff.
yeah, crazy stuff.
But we got I think we should cut this off.
Yeah, we're gonna cut it.
And we got a little new opening. Is our little new opening here? Yeah. No music yet, but it's kind of fun. Hold on a second. Wait. Let's see. You'll get a kick out of this. It's